Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly. I am a writer, and in this video we're going to reflect on 2024 together. We're going to talk about some of the highlights, something really unexpected that happened, which was the best thing that happened to me this year. Talk about some failures, really bad things that happened as well. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to share a story that I think will help motivate you if you feel like you haven't made any progress this year. So that's the structure of this video. I'm really nervous and I think my glasses are crooked, but we're just gonna keep going. So the most unexpected thing that happened to me this year, which is also the best thing that happened to me this year, is that this year I became an award-nominated poet. I became an award-nominated poet. My poem, As I Want To So I Can, was nominated for the Award Awards. I feel like I'm just repeating myself. I didn't win. I came in 4th place, but just to be nominated is a huge deal to me. I think it's more so that my name is out there and my name is on the list, like with other brilliant poets. And if you don't know what the Award Awards are, it's a Canadian speculative award. So Fauna Lee has actually won the best novel in the Award Awards, and everyone knows Fauna Lee, right? She wrote Jade City. I believe William Gibson has won some awards, or had something nominated as well. And one of the co-writers of This Is How You Win the Time War was also nominated for her poem, I believe, in 2014. So this is a big deal, this Award Awards, and I feel like I couldn't really grasp how big it was or it is to be nominated, just because my immediate world is like YouTube. That's where my writing community, I think, predominantly lives, and YouTube is all about novels. It's not really about short stories, it's not about poetry really, it's about writing books. And also the Award Awards is Canadian based, like the Canadian spec, like short fiction poetry is not at all highlight on YouTube. And so it's really my critique partner, Melissa, who has always been telling me that, hey, Kelly, like, you got the nomination this year. You're a good writer. And like, I feel like my confidence my friend Melissa has really helped me whenever I felt really sad about my writing progress. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like, you have this thing. So anyway, thanks, Melissa. So that was really cool. I got nominated. So yeah, that was the thing that was unexpected that happened to me this year. Never in my life did I think I would be a nominated writer, at least for poetry. The second thing that happened this year, which was a highlight, is that same poem got reprinted in Year's Best anthology. I was supposed to get a contributor copy. It has not come yet, but I was really happy that my poem got reprinted in that Year's Best anthology. I've never had anything reprinted before, so that was my first reprint, and to be reprinted in like a Year's Best anthology, I thought that was really fun. So yeah, that was really cool. The third really cool thing that happened to me this year in terms of my writing is that I wrote a book from start to finish. This was a book idea that I didn't get until the second I had the idea in my head and I just like started writing it. Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say besides I finished writing my 4th book to completion. I do think this is the cleanest book I had ever written, but there's still quite a bit of work to do. But it was nice to be able to write something and that I'm editing it. I'm not like, wow, I have to like do surgery on this entire book. I don't think it's that level of bad, and it makes me more confident that I'm getting better at writing novels. And I guess the last thing I want to touch on in this, like, what happened, the good part of this year, is that I had another short story published. This one is called Oaks Spokes Are Folks. You can get it now. It's print only, which is actually my first print only ever short story. I wrote it in fall of 2022. That's how long ago I wrote this short story. It got accepted February of 2023, and it was published November of 2024. So very long lead time. I guess it's like a taste of traditional publishing, right? So those were my highlights of the year for writing. In terms of things that did not go very well, I can probably go on and on because I'm just that kind of person, but I don't want to be like Debbie the Downer or anything. So I'm going to try to eloquently sum it up nicely. The first is that I'm kind of like nowhere near being published in terms of like traditional publishing or self-publishing, publishing a novel, I mean. If we were thinking of a board game, like a tabletop board game, and my meeple, my little person on a board game, I would not have moved from my spot. Like, to not move for 1 whole year, I think is kind of embarrassing, to be honest, and especially because like I'm kind of on YouTube. I feel like there is an expectation that I would be moving, but I literally have not moved at all. I have not moved because at the beginning of the year, I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue traditional publishing anymore. Then I started writing that secret project and I thought I was going to self-publish that. But now I feel like a lot has changed actually in the past few months. Even though it's only been a few months, I feel like I've undergone like a lot of self-reflection and thinking. But we'll talk a little bit about that later. But anyway, I have not moved at all in this board game of publishing, I guess. I've stayed where I was literally a year ago. I've made absolutely no progress. I forgot another point, so I'm gonna make it really quickly now. I didn't get a single thing accepted this year for short stories and poetry. I submitted over 40 things, probably close to 50, 0, nothing. I got a lot of like, you're in the final round, you're on the short list, you're on the long list. Doesn't matter, because I got nothing, and that sucks. I've never had this hard of a time finding homes for these pieces. Last year, like the ones on my website, those found a home in like 2 tries, and at this point I'm up to like 12 tries for homes, and it's pretty bad. It's not great. And I guess another not so great thing that happened this year in terms of writing is just generally that like I didn't have time. Before this year, I truly thought that time was something that could kind of be manipulated, that if you didn't have time, it's because you didn't put time into it. For example, I thought that if you didn't have time, it was because you chose to watch Netflix for 2 hours, 3 hours, even 1 hour instead of working on your book for that same amount of time. And this was the year that I was really humbled by that. I was probably extremely privileged to be thinking like that in the first place, because this year my life changed dramatically. In terms of my day job, I was previously remote. I was remote for like 3 to 4 years. I was remote pretty much since the peak of COVID started in 2020. And I only recently became in person this year, 2024. So for 4 years, I was remote only. I was working from home, and I was really able to control my time and to balance my time. But now that I'm in the office 3 times a week, that has really skewed up everything. Not because I'm in the office 3 times a week, but the commute that I had to do to go into the office. I was commuting 2 hours every way for my 3 days in at the office. So that's 4 hours a day. And for 4 hours a day of me commuting, that took so much time out from kind of my own creative endeavors. And on the weekends, I was always with family. Because also, if you guys didn't know, if you were here recently, I moved from Canada to the US. My family is based in the US. And so not only did I move from remote work and exclusively like focusing on myself and my personal projects and my personal growth, my whole lifestyle changed. I was spending like infinite time, I was spending a lot of time with my family, which was something I wanted to do because I did come back to the US. But it meant that my time was so limited. Not only am I working a full-time job, I also have my own editing business. I'm also kind of running this YouTube channel. I volunteer for Augur Society, and I'm trying to write. That's like 5 things I'm balancing all together at the same time. And so I literally just like, I was constantly running out of time. So back to that example of like, do you watch Netflix for 2 hours or do you write for 2 hours? It wasn't even like about that anymore. By the time I came home from work, it was like approaching 7, because I would leave my office at like 4:40 and I would get home around like 6:40, 6:45. And let's say I ate dinner until 7, and I would want to be in bed by like 9:30 because sleep is really important to me. So that meant I had like 2.5 hours, and that's only if I rushed dinner within like that 15 minutes. So not ideally, like a typical day would be me finishing dinner around 7:30. I would help my parents clean up maybe for 15 minutes at 7:45. So from 7:45 to 9:30, what can I do for an hour and 15 minutes? And it was about like, no, I can't watch Netflix. I can't watch anything because I have to do a call for Augur from 8 to 9, for example. And then it's like, okay, what am I going to do like outside of those 2 times? Oh, I can do, editing client work. I'm supposed to be doing 10 pages a day, but I'm actually behind. Wait, I can also make a thumbnail because I have a sponsored video coming up in 2 weeks. And oh wait, I actually haven't written anything. And so my time became sliced up like that. It was never about like choosing between relaxing and working. It was truly, I was choosing between responsibilities that I couldn't handle all at once, and I was always behind. I was always behind. In terms of like even my social life, I felt like I wasn't showing up for people. I was making plans and I didn't show up because things happened, like life happened in the summer. My parents' car got stolen. For a lot of this year, it was like that. It was like I was back to back to back with things I had to do, and there was no relaxing time. And I remember really like whenever I took a break and I was hanging out with my parents, my eyes would just be glancing at the clock because I only had like so much time before I had to do the next thing. And so this timing really messed up this year for me. And I think that's why I wasn't able to move my pieces around. But with this lack of time, I realized something that I think maybe might impact this channel, might impact me going forward, is that I'm not sure if I really care about publishing anymore, just in general. There are a lot of priorities I want in my life now that are a little bit different than before. And a lot of it does stem from the fact that I have like no time. But for example, like my family, I think is like my #1 priority now, more so than publishing. Like I want to be able to spend quality time with my parents, with my partner, without feeling guilty that I'm not doing work. I would like to have a family in the future. So that's something that is really important to me, and I think is more important to me than publishing. I want to enjoy my time. Like, I feel like since I started this YouTube channel like 4 years ago, I really focused all my energy on building this business, building my writing, building this channel, building the editing business. I started volunteering at the literary magazine Augur. And I really can't help but feel like I've given this my all, and I think I'm done with it. Like, I think I've exhausted it. I've done as much as I can, and I don't know if I want to continue putting the same amount of effort for this thing because I don't know if I care that much. I don't know if this is making sense. Like, I'm not saying that I will never publish or I'm never going to write again or even post on this channel. I don't think that's possible. But the act of like really trying to publish and to put your work out there at a consistent rate while dealing with everything that I have to deal with, I don't know if I want to choose that. That's too much for me. I think it's too busy. Like, I want to be able to do fun things, go to Manhattan over the weekend and do some fun events, go to a museum without feeling like, wow, I'm wasting my time right now. I'm wasting my time because I don't have a lot of time and this time should be for writing, but I want to do these fun things. Like, I don't want that. I really don't want that. So my mindset is really shifting whether or not I want to publish. Don't get me wrong, as I said, I'm still gonna write, but like this publishing thing, I just don't know. Anyway, I can go on and on because I am Debbie the Downer, but we're gonna stop and we're gonna talk about something that I think is a little bit more uplifting. And if you are feeling like you haven't made any progress this year, I'm gonna change your mind, just like how it changed my mind too. So the other day I was reading a query letter I wrote for the first book I had ever written. At the end of the query, you always have like your bio, your author bio. And so I'm gonna read to you my author bio. Okay, this is from 2021, my author bio. I graduated from the University of Toronto and currently work as a technical writer in Toronto. I have a small YouTube channel where I talk about my writing journey with 977 subscribers. And I was reading my query letter because I was like interested in this book again. And then I was really confused when I read this bio because I was like, what is this? Like, I wasn't sure what this was. Like, what is this? And it didn't occur to me until probably like 2 minutes later that I was like, oh, this is me. This was me in 2021. And so many, like, I couldn't see the progress of my own, I guess, creative endeavors really until I saw this bio again because it's so different now. Like, my bio is nowhere like this, and not just that in terms of writing, but YouTube is so different as well. And yeah, it just, I don't know, that made me a little bit more proud of myself because it really does show how much I've grown as a writer. Yeah, a lot has changed, and do I want to keep going? So thank you so much for watching me just rant for like 20 minutes. I hope you guys have a happy new year, and please stay safe. Bye.